Next is the presentation of a donation for the Joseph Warren interpretive signage. Mr. Stanley, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this opportunity to appear before this distinguished body of elected leaders. You're elected because of these documents. Would you please hold those up and let the Board of Supervisors review those? This is the Declaration of Independence, this is the Constitution of the United States, and this is the Bill of Rights. Without that, none of you would be there. Without that, we all would be standing before a judge appointed by a king coming from Great Britain. We do not have that because numbers of our ancestors fought for American freedom, and not to leave out all of those men and women who have fought for our freedoms from every war down to the present war now underway, which number nearly 1 million people. I have with me today, I have first and foremost Dale Carpenter, who is dressed in an officer's uniform, looking very much like George Washington, but I did check, this is not General Washington. General Washington had another schedule this morning. So thank you, Dale, for coming. He is the second vice president, newly elected of the Sons of the American Revolution, the Colonel James Wood chapter, which is the chapter for this area, everything from Woodstock north to the Potomac River. The president of our chapter I'll introduce in just a moment. A previous president is Don Dusenberry. Don was president several years ago, led our chapter to greater heights, and the chapter, the Colonel James Wood chapter, is the outstanding, the #1 chapter in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I understand from our president, I'll introduce in just a moment, we rank about somewhere 10th, or we're the top 10 nationwide, but I don't know about that because I just deal here mostly in the Commonwealth. Today I am representing my great-grandfather who fought, or 4 greats ago, who fought in the American Revolution. His name was Abel Johnston. Born in Virginia in 1757, family migrated to North Carolina seeking more fertile land and settled in a county named Johnston. That makes sense, doesn't it? That Abel Johnston's family would live in Johnston County. If you want to know where Johnston County is, if you've ever gone down Highway 95 and you get to one of my favorite places, and that's J.R. Cigars, you are in the middle of Johnston County. That was a hotbed of the American Revolution. Most of us who fought in that war from that area never owned a uniform such as Dale Carpenter is wearing today. Most of us fought in the clothes that we had, and then picked a musket up and went to fight for freedom. So now, migrating later in life, Abel's son, yours truly, came to live in Warren County some 20 years ago. And I was wondering about the name of our county. And as I began to study the name of our county, it was created in 1836 and it was named Warren. Further investigation was it was actually named after Joseph Warren, a physician from Boston. Being a Southerner, I wondered what would lead the founders of this county to name this county after a Yankee. As I studied this, I completely understand. Joseph Warren was the first martyr for American freedom. He was a physician in Boston. He advocated for freedom. He was revered by the people who knew him, being appointed or elected the first Grand Master of the Masons in the in the colonies at that time. You can tell he had great respect. But he led something more. He and Samuel Adams led a rebellion that resulted. Why did you fold them up? I have better personnel training.
Hard to get good help these days.
And please hold it right side up, Dan. I used to teach school. You remind me of my. Thank you very much. know that you can't see that. Of course, however, going to school as early as you did in life, you probably can read cursive. Most of our children in school today are not taught cursive, so I don't know how they're going to read this particular document. But anyway, we move right along. As I studied about Joseph Warren, I wondered why would this county be named for Warren? As I studied his history, I understand it. But what would lead citizens of this county in 1836 to name this county Warren? The citizens, I think, were former members and fighters for freedom. And they knew of Joseph Warren, the first martyr, the man that gave his life at Bunker Hill, on a little knoll at Bunker Hill called Breed's Hill. He gave his life. The British were under attack, and they expected to wipe out this budding revolution at Bunker Hill. And men, farmers, merchants, women, they assembled on Bunker Hill to stop the British. They stopped the first 3 waves of attacks. Actually, they were able to wound and kill more British soldiers than they lost. But they ran out of musket balls. They ran out of everything they had to fight with. And so when finally they started firing gravel from the ground, the British knew it was over. They had no more musket balls. Warren had been just nominated and elected a major general in the Continental Army. He had arrived at the breastworks, and General Israel Putnam, the oldest general in our army, said, "You are in charge. You are a major general." And Joseph said, "No, I will fight with the men in the trenches." I don't even know if he'd been able to acquire a uniform at that point. But what he did, he went into the trenches to fight with the common soldier. After those 3 waves of British soldiers, the greatest army the world has ever known, began to move forward, our boys began to retreat. They were coming on fast. And so Joseph says, "I will stay here with some of our friends from the Green Dragon Tavern," which was the center of our rebellion, "and we will do a rear guard action." The British general hated Warren. He'd even said, wherever Warren goes, he's worth 500 regimental soldiers in himself. And so General Gage ordered that if you see Warren, kill him. Warren was in a ditch. He'd been bayoneted, he had been shot, but he did not desert his post. And as he waved his men back in retreat and continued to fight with a sword which broke, Gage ordered that he should be killed in the trench. No quarter. And so he was shot through the head and he fell dead. The men retreated. Joseph would die, but the revolution would live. And so why is this county named this? I don't know, but our president, who will speak to you in just a second, Dale Corey, has taken on as a personal challenge and involves some of the rest of us in it. Thank you for that, Dale.
Yeah.
But he works as hard. He is finding in the soil of Warren County Revolutionary War soldiers, hereto unknown. We mark James Marshall, brother to the Supreme Court Justice John Marshall, just up the hill here. You know about that, don't you? And all of these little cemeteries throughout this county, there are graves of heroes. And this man is finding and marking. And I hope that this distinguished group of people here from time to time will find that in your schedule, you'll find time to come to the marking of a grave of a hero unknown to us. But in my mind's eye, what do I see? I see a group of leaders in this county in 1836. I don't know where they gathered. Maybe they gathered under the oak tree. And they said, we're going to have a county. things have matured to the point that we need our own county. And the word went out, what shall we name it? I have a feeling there was no competition, because these men knew their history, that this county should be named after the first martyr of the American Revolution. So now we come to the point in time, through cooperation, your cooperation and your approval of a resolution 2 years ago, and the cooperation of this good staff led by Doug Stanley, we've come to the place that we have found money to put a plaque in every public school. Is our superintendent here? Our superintendent. Stand up, Greg. Sir. He saw to it that the Board of Education took your lead, and the Board of Education has approved that a plaque remembering Joseph Warren will go into every public school in this county. In addition, we hope to tell me when you're going to do it so I can at least smile. Thank you very much. Camera now. So Greg has approved, his board has approved that these plaques will go in. What we hope will happen, the plaques will be, the contract will be let for those, I'm sure, when Doug gets this money, and we'll have them back in about 6 weeks or so. At that time, our superintendent has agreed that we can go into the schools and we can dedicate those plaques. And Greg, we will have there honor guards with men dressed in these outfits. And we'll say there'll be a brief dedication, and I hope you can attend all night. But I know how busy you are. Now you can sit down, Greg. Good staff over there, especially Miss Henry. You should give her a raise, Greg, Miss Mary Henry.
I'm working on it.
Okay. She's a real patriot. She caught on to this thing when we first started. So now I want to turn this over to our President, Dale Corey, who's doing one whale of a job in leading our chapter, the Colonel James Wood chapter, the Greater Heights. Dale?
Thank you. Greetings, good morning. Not much left for me to say because, Larry has a tendency to say it all for everybody most of the time. So we do appreciate the check. I've got the check though. And we have here a check that we got the Night Patty Fund for the Sons of the American Revolution, and our chapter provided the funds to put these plaques in the public buildings here. And we're really grateful that you all support us, because one of our main goals, of course, is historical preservation, especially of the colonial era. And it does get forgotten many, many times. So I have this check I'm going to present to you. We've also got a little certificate of appreciation that we have from us to show that we appreciate what the board here has done and supports us. And we know that in our little corner of the world, it's very important for us to stand up and be recognized. So I'd like to present this. Oh, right. There it is.
We'll go this way for now.
Come on right in here, Dan. Thank you very much for supporting the Sons of the American Revolution. It's an effort that we're trying to recognize Dr. Warren and make sure he was never forgotten. So, a little plaque here. We'll have a little grin time. And we've got this check. I guess you're taking. I'll take the check. Thank you very much for everything.
So the check's going to put up approximately, I think, 14 signs. Both government center, town hall, library, hospital,
Heritage Society, and all the schools.
and all our schools. And I want to thank Randy Rosser, who has worked on the design back and forth with Larry. We're working off and on.
Where is she? Nice to see you.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. This guy's been my inspiration from the get-go. I tell you what, it's nothing like dealing with, I started saying old veterans, but a young veteran.
You're right.
God bless you. God bless you. I just want to conclude this by and I won't be speaking probably again for a long time to you, is that it has been a pleasure to work with this board over the past 2 years. I look so forward on the 11th of June, that flag for the county being lowered to half-staff in remembrance of Joseph Warren, which Doug takes care of that. And I found out from Doug, Doug checked it out, there's how many, 33 flagpoles that the county owns? 33. He counted them, and he sends out a notice that on Joseph Warren's birthday, those flags will be at half-staff. So if you see those, Greg, are you still here?
I am.
Now, I noticed that some of the high schools didn't lower their flags this year. So now, do I have your permission to go on the grounds and lower them for them?
We will take care of it.
You'll take care of it. Okay. So, and then they stay lowered until the 17th of June, which is the last day of the battle of Bunker Hill, Breeze Hill, where Joseph Warren was killed. So thank you very much. I'm going to bring tears to my eyes. Don't take a picture. Where did he go? Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir.